All right, all right, all right. We got ourselves a grand finals of KSL Week 43. And, well, it's a regular occurrence to see this guy in the finals. And here he is once again, representing a new team, though. Just recently joined Team Talent as they pick up their first StarCraft player. And, I mean, they wanted to pick up a world champion. They did it. In the lower right-hand corner of Hard Lead, it's Dark. And he is up against maybe the best PvP player in Korea. He did just take down both Creator and Hero in this bracket to get here. Unfortunately for him, he's not playing a PvP. He's playing one of the best Zergs in the world. But in the upper left-hand corner, we've got Nightmare, who is currently teamless. So, I don't know, maybe Dragon Kitesy. They have a empty spot on their team now with Dark gone. Maybe they want to look over at Nightmare. Nightmare's the reason that Hero didn't make it to the finals. So, you know, he's the guy. One of the higher-ranked teamless players at the moment. There was some other big team news recently as the Onside players, Onside in general, I think, has been like absorbed into Team Vitality. I'm not sure exactly how that's working, but it seems like they picked up all the Onside peeps. So some big team stuff happening this year. We've Cloud9 pick up Gumiho, Na'Vi pick up Spirit, and we've got Talent and Vitality picking up players, and it's cool to see that even in its what feels like its twilight years, StarCraft is gaining some relevance. People are getting really excited, I feel like, about StarCraft. I see a lot of excitement around StarCraft. There's obviously been a lot of RTS buzz in the last year with Stormgate, and now we have Zero Space 2, and there's a handful of other RTSs being developed. I feel like there was just that period of time when there wasn't as much excitement. Maybe people weren't watching StarCraft. I know we were, but a lot of people weren't. Now they're like, man, StarCraft is cool. Should go watch some of that. And we're all still here to provide more StarCraft content. If you guys like this StarCraft content and you want it to keep on going in the future, and you want these players to keep having what is right now bi-weekly tournaments to play in, consider supporting the Patreon. We have 136 active Patreon members. And because of that, we're able to put on a $400 tournament every other week. A big shout out to those guys. You'll also get the replays from all this. So if you're practicing your StarCraft, maybe you want to go to the next big tournament and play on LAN. There's usually like a bring your own computer LAN tournament at DreamHack. So maybe there'll be one at DreamHack Dallas. You can get these replays, practice up, win some money. Let's go. Now focus on this game a little bit. Nightmare opening up with the Void Ray. Kind of an interesting choice. I feel like I've seen a few more Phoenixes than Void Rays to clear those Overlords, but the Void Ray, of course, going to be also a bit better at defending certain things that certain players might get aggressive with, such as roaches from Dark, as Dark does like to attack with roaches. Phoenix can also kill creep tumors, so there it goes. Killing a creep tumor. And Nightmare just taking a third. So it looks like we're just macroing up here. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Now, we were talking about this before this match started, that this is going to be a tough one for Nightmare. He does not have a very good record against Dark in series. And, you know, we're in a best of 5 here. This is a finals. That's going to make it even more difficult. The reason we do longer series in the finals is because, generally speaking, it means the higher skill player is going to have a higher chance of winning, you know? And we in StarCraft are all about making sure that whoever wins, they win because of skill. We don't like it when they win because of cheese or balance or bad strategies or something, or whatever people like to talk about. RNG, StarCraft, we hate RNG in StarCraft. We hate it. We don't like it. We don't want people to win because of RNG. We want them to win because of skill. And I'll tell you, Dark has a lot of skill. He's real good at this game, and I think it's going to be very tough for Nightmare. That being said, Nightmare has won games against Dark. He has even won a few series against him over the years. So he's just got to line him up. He just needs to win 3 of the next 5 games against Dark. And if he does that, he'll have it sorted. That's all he needs to do. This is kind of cute. The Oracle's going to turn on as well. Ooh, one of them goes down, though. So Nightmare forces the cancel on the base. Oh, he's going to lose the Void Ray, too. Oh, no. This is not going well for Nightmare. If he had been able to cancel that base and get all 3 of those units out of there, that would have been good. Would have been cute. But losing the Void Ray and the Oracle for that just suddenly makes this incredibly not worth it. And turns the opening from decent for Nightmare to just bad. It's just bad for him, unfortunately. And Dark, in the meantime, he's dropping the Infestation Pit. He's got his second Evo Chamber on the way. Right now, he's just busting out a bunch of Lings. Just have a handful of Roaches. But Nightmare's Blink is about to finish. His +1's about to finish, and he's going to put some pressure on with these Stalkers. But the Oracle dies! Oh, Nightmare. Oh, this is so painful. And he doesn't have a tag on the army either, so he's got some vision of it, but not a ton of vision of what this army exactly is. Dark is waiting. He's biding his time. He doesn't want to fight if he doesn't have to. But as the Stalkers keep pushing into this 4th base, he is going to send the Lings up. +1 not quite done yet, but oh my god, this Ling surround is huge. And he catches 4, 5, 6 Stalkers, I think that was, chasing all of these Blink Stalkers backwards, forcing the recall, and he's going to get 1, 2, 3 more as that recall goes down. 5 drones went down in the meantime. I'm not sure exactly where, but it doesn't feel like it matters here. Dark is in a commanding position now, knocking down a lot of those Stalkers of Nightmare. And in the meantime, Dark's 4th is up, his 5th is up. He's droning those up, getting up to 77 workers now. It's double Colossus production for Nightmare behind this, which is going to be very good against the heavy Ling play of Dark right now. Dark needs to be careful not to overdo it on Lings. I kind of like this for Nightmare, actually. Dark's going into Banelings as well, so if he commits a little too hard on these light units, the Colossi can be very strong against it. But Dark is 50 supply ahead right now. He's just in such a good spot. Oh my god, and you know what? His hive is already done because he's Dark. Even though there was all that fighting happening and all those units out, and still, you know, hive done nice and early for him. He's got the Vipers on the way. And that's going to make these Colossi feel super useless. There's a reason we don't see Colossi against Zerg like a ton. It's come back in popularity a little bit, but that reason is Vipers. You have this window of time before the Vipers come out where the Colossi can be good, but because he's playing Dark, Nightmare doesn't really have that window. That window doesn't exist against Dark. He's going to have 4 Colossi and Thermal Lance done as the Vipers get full energy, and that's just the worst possible timing here for Nightmare, where theoretically these Colossi should not be all that difficult to deal with for the Zerg. And behind this Dark, he's got Adrenal on the way. He's got Burrow on the way. He's got an Ultra Cavern. And I don't think Nightmare has like any other tech coming up. He doesn't even have a Templar Archives yet. Oh my god, blinks forward. There's a Colossus in this Warp Prison, but these Stalkers are going to be in some trouble. The Colossus needs to get picked up, and the Stalkers need to blink away. Nightmare is trying to micro. He's trying to do the fancy micro. There's just too many Zerglings. There's too many. And the Stalkers are just getting chewed up. And again, Dark taking fantastic trades here. 2,000 resources better for the Zerg. That is not what you want to see as the Protoss. Nightmare says, screw it, I'm going, and I think this is the right call. I think this is all he can do. Tries to blink forward on top of the Vipers, but 2 Colossi get yoinked. A Blinding Cloud goes down on the Stalkers, and I think there's just going to be too much Zerg here. Nightmare can't take a good fight. Dark, with a dominating performance in game number 1, is going to push Nightmare back, and I think he's just going to straight up win this game. Nightmare does not have enough to hold. The Super Shield Battery will not be enough to save this 4th base or to save this army. Dark, man, showing his class. The world champion for a reason. And he's been looking strong. There's the GG. Nightmare realizes the position he's in and just taps on out. Dark, man. Dark. And I hope that's not indicative of this whole series here, because Nightmare making it to his 2nd finals in a row. You know, Nightmare is not the player, if you're looking at maybe the top 8 of this bracket, Nightmare is not necessarily the player you'd expect to get to the finals. So this is a nice win for him to get here. Now, he did win the KSL last week, took down Beyond in the finals, and that I think was a big upset as well. But I feel like his record against Dark, which I think it was 62-6, overcoming that's going to take a lot, man. Nightmare, he's got a massive uphill battle, and now he's down 0-1 in a very, very brutal first game. Dark just looking incredibly dominant in that game. And now we're heading to Hecate for game number 2. We will see if Nightmare can pull it back. You know, I want him to be able to. But he's going to have to bring something, I think, a little bit different, be a little bit special to game 2. It is also worth noting that Dark played that pretty straightforward, very reactive Zerg macro, you know, the quick tech that Dark really likes to do. But Dark a lot of times does like to get extremely aggressive and go for borderline all-ins or just straight up all-ins. So things can get spicy in these games. We'll see if that happens in one of these games in this best of 5 series. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner of Hecate, we have Talon's Dark. Somebody said he should have written it Dark Talon. That does sound better. I would love to see Dark Talon. Right, maybe we need to give Dark that note. His opponent in the upper right-hand corner is Nightmare, looking to overcome the odds. Try to take down his opponent. But I feel like Dark playing a macro reactive Zerg style. It's not always what we expect from him, but obviously he's very good at it as well. And the quick tech to Hive helped him out a lot there. It leaves him vulnerable in some ways. I feel like there are some builds Nightmare could bust out to take advantage of a macro Dark. The problem is you can't count on macro Dark. You just can't. At any point, he could go for a Roach all-in. I mean, he could proxy hatch. I've seen Dark do that so many times. Dark's got a lot of cheekiness up his sleeves, and that's going to make it tough for Nightmare. It does also leave this kind of opening for Nightmare, though, where there is a chance that his build order could just hard counter Dark's. We've seen that before. Dark goes for some sort of all-in, and just what the Protoss player is going for straight up holds it beautifully. It's just the natural counter. And that can put Dark in a bad spot, where Nightmare might be able to take that advantage to a win. But it's hard to count on. And one of the scariest things about Dark is how versatile he is. Yes, he can be very aggressive. Yes, he'll do lots of all-ins. He's not afraid to cheese the crap out of you. But his macro is so good that if you don't kill him on a counterattack after holding his cheese, he'll just macro up. he's not afraid of it. He'll macro up, and you will, even though you have a lead, find yourself in a tight macro game because you're still against Dark at the end of the day. You know, we Twilight Council first here for Nightmare, which Dark gets in and scouts with that Ling. So it's almost certainly going to be just Glaive Depths, Robo going down here. Probably a 4-gate Glaives. Nightmare gets in with the Adepts, trying to get a little bit of damage done. Oh, he just get 3 kills. Were those all Lings? Yeah, it's just 4 Lings going down so far. 1 drone might die. No, good pullback there from Dark. Saves the drone. Drops the Roach Warren, and it's not Glaives. Actually going to be a Dark Shrine here out of Nightmare. And so this is where, like, things can get a little dicey, right? If Dark was going for just a hatch tech all in, and those DTs came in, things get a little weird. But I don't think it's going to necessarily be a hatch tech all in here from Dark. He might build some of these early roaches. Are we going to see Spore Crawlers, though? I guess that's the question. I don't know. There's no lair. You know what? Things might get a little dicey here. This might kind of be what I'm talking about. He's going to build those roaches. Still no lair. Still no Spore Crawlers. The Dark Shrine is about to finish. The big thing here is that there's no Adepts hitting. And yeah, Dark not seeing the Adepts coming out yet, he puts down the Spore Crawler at the front of the natural. And I feel like this is you might actually have a Dark Shrine Spore Crawler. The Overlord's going to be able to get in and will confirm the Dark Shrine. But this is still very late for Dark to see this. It's done. That's a done Dark Shrine. There's already a DT warped in on the other side of the map. In fact, there are 3 DTs, but they're going to get spotted by this Spore Crawler immediately. Can they get up the ramp? Oh my god. One of them dies. The Warp Prism gets pushed away by the Queens, but the Spore finishes in the natural, or in the main mineral line. Looks like these 2 DTs will get picked up. They don't get any damage done. I don't even think they killed one of these Lings. And now Dark's got the lair on the way. He's got Spore Crawlers in position at every base. Roaches and Queens are around. So Nightmare, he might be able to kill some Creep Tumors with this, but he'll probably just have to follow it up with an Archon drop. And in the meantime, he's got Blink and a 3rd base coming up behind it. So this didn't really get much damage done, but I actually feel like this worked almost like I was talking about, right? Dark was planning on, he really was planning on a hatch tech, not really all in, but aggressive attack against Nightmare. And these DTs fully stopped it. Dark just defended with the roaches instead. Now he's going to get a lair. He's going to macro up. This is allowing a lot of the Creep Tumors to get killed. The lair is finally done, so now an Overseer should be able to push this away. But that's a lot of dead Creep Tumors, man. These DTs have done a great job clearing up this creep of Dark. Now Nightmare's just going to pull back. His Blink Stalkers are getting ready. And Dark's going for a Spire off the back of this. I feel like Nightmare's got a chance here. I think if he does like a big 3-base thing. Because Dark's economy wasn't fantastic. His lair was late. So he's not going to have like a huge amount of post-lair tech. He's heading towards Mutas. But I feel like Nightmare would need to do like a Blink Stalker, Archon, maybe a couple of Immortals kind of all-in 3-base attack. And that's just not what he's doing. He's heading towards a Robo Bay. Ooh, and this Link counterattack is massive. He's just going to target down the shield battery. And then he should be able to kill so much stuff, I say. The Zealots warp in, though. Nightmare at the same time forces a cancel on the 4th base. So doesn't take any damage back at home. Cancels the 4th base. 7 Mutas are on the way. But it doesn't look like Dark's committing to the Mutas. It's just going to be 7. There's no +1 started up. At least for now. Stalkers are still poking and prodding. The second Robo is coming up for Nightmare as the Robo Bay is done. Lings are trying to bust their way in, but they're not really finding much purchase here. They're getting cleaned up. Nightmare with some good blink micro here as well. Not really losing much back at home. I mean, honestly, this part of the game is going really, really well for him. That being said, the mutas are out now. I don't know exactly where they are. There they are. Found them. We're moving up the left-hand side. Nightmare does not know about this at all. He has not scouted the Spire, which is here. Yeah, hasn't scouted the Spire, hasn't scouted the mutas. So Nightmare is going to be scrambling for a defense. He's going for a double robo to get double disruptors out against somebody who's got mutas about to hit him. And this is a feels bad man right now for Nightmare, who has a bunch of blink stalkers, but they're sitting out on the map. They're getting recalled to the main base, but that means this natural is just devoid of stalkers for now. Looks like a few mutas might get caught here by a good blink forward. Actually, some stalkers down on the low ground as well. So some of these mutas are going down, but they've already done their job. They killed 12 probes. They pulled Nightmare completely all the way back home, letting Dark get this fourth base up and running. He doesn't have to worry about defending anymore. Baneling's trying to come in. I don't think they killed any probes, but I mean, this has already gone beautifully for Dark. And he's just going to keep this army back at home as long as possible. That's going to let Dark on the other side of the map get his Bane speed up. His +2 melee's on the way. He's stunting the growth of his opponent. And Dark is starting to jump ahead in the army supply, as well as the workers here. Oh, he's getting ready for a double Ling run by too. The wall is open. Oh no, dude. Nightmare is pushing out right now. He's just kind of awkwardly in the middle of the map. Oh, he's not catching any of this. I think he might have spotted these ones. Wait, hold the phone. Okay, he gets over here. He was worried about a run by. He found some of these units. He's gonna get the kills, but the Banelings come in and get 10 probe kills anyways. Dark, again, he's just keeping Nightmare back. He's keeping him playing defense. And these disruptors, I don't hate them. They're not as good against Lings as they are against, like Roaches and Ravagers. So the Lings out front here are going to make their life more difficult. And Dark is actually committing to this attack. He's hitting with the mutas in the main at the same time, trying to run by with the Lings and Banes into the natural. But it looks like Nightmare's going to have enough to clean up this attack. There's the blink forward on top of the Roaches and Ravagers, but the base goes down to the last couple of Baneling hits. 9 probes and the third base dying. And even though Nightmare is pushing this army back, killing a lot of the Roaches and Ravagers, Dark, he's getting a lot more Lings and Banes out back at him. He's got 55 Banes morphing. The mutas are still being annoying here. And Nightmare's just going fully for the counterattack, but he's got nothing to defend against the Banelings. The Stalkers are blinking backwards, but how? How do they fight this? The Disruptor Nova comes out, a second Nova, but they're just not getting the hits they need, and Dark pushes Nightmare away. Nightmare has just no mining behind this. He's down at 37 workers on 2 bases that are starting to mine out. He's going to keep the pressure on, but there's so many Banelings just pushing him backwards. Oh, the Disruptor Nova trying to be cheeky there. Gets a few Banes. The Stalkers will blink backwards and tank the rest of them. That's going to give Dark more time to get more Lings out, more Banes out. And I feel like there's just no way Nightmare cracks this. Can he do it? Oh wait, he changed what he's warping in. He's going to go for the DTs to get some Archons out. I like it. I like that move. That was a cute move from Nightmare, canceling those warp ins. But is it going to be in time? He's blinking backwards. The mutas are here. The Archons just barely finishing up in time for this fight. The Stalkers have nowhere to blink to, though. The Warp Prism goes down. The Archons, were they just too late? I don't know. They're doing their best. The Disruptors all get killed. And Nightmare, he's now down 20 army supply. I think those Archons were just too little too late. He's going to push up the ramp with what he has left. But there's just not going to be enough here. The Lings get the surround. The Queens and the Roach is going to help clean this up. And it looks like Dark is about to take a 2-0 in this series. That game did get a little bit wild. But Dark, he was ahead pretty much the whole game. And while Nightmare had some good moves, and it felt like he had a chance, Dark takes it in the end. And now Dark, he's on match point already. Just needs to win one more game to win yet another KSL. Jeff Bezos, thank you so much for the 100 bits. I appreciate that. Don't get a lot of bits in here, so I appreciate the the cheering in chat. It's a good time to remind you guys, if you're enjoying this KSL, if you're enjoying this cast even a little bit, maybe hit that follow button on Twitch. Maybe subscribe on YouTube. Do post all my best matches onto YouTube. This one will undoubtedly go there, even if it ends up a 3-0, because, I mean, it's KSL Finals. I gotta put it on YouTube. I posted like 1 million YouTube videos this week because I cast so many good ones from the OSC stuff last week Friday and from the ESL Europe on Monday. It's so many good matches. I've had like 2 videos a day. No Taylor Swift though this week. Maybe we'll get Taylor Swift again next week. All right, game 3 is going to be on Alcyone. We'll see. We'll see if Dark can close it out. I'm hoping Nightmare can at least take a game here. He had such a good run last week, and getting to the finals again after winning KSL not last week, 2 weeks ago, is really, really sick. But it's looking tough for him. I don't know, man. I don't know how he's going to find a way in. It's hard to see any weaknesses in the armor, in the carapace of his opponent. In the lower left-hand corner, the red Zerg player for talent, it's Dark. Of course, in the upper right, currently teamless. Got to get him on a team for sure. It's Nightmare. Dark, this is his 24th finals appearance, which actually puts him 1 up on Hero. Dark and Hero before this finals were both at 23 finals appearances. Hero still has more wins by a lot. Hero's at 18 wins. Dark is at 9. So Hero has a much better record in the finals. But if Dark closes this one out, finishes it up, he'll go up to 10 KSL wins. It is pretty impressive. We don't really have anybody else who's even close to that. Solar and Maru both have 3 wins, but Hero with the crazy number of 18. Blocked from getting into the finals this week by Nightmare. It's going to give Dark maybe a bit of an easier finals road here. Hero does not usually let Dark win when they face in the finals. I think Dark was probably happy to see Nightmare take down Hero in the semis for this one. But all right, let's see if Nightmare can do it. What does Nightmare bust out here? I mean, he already went for DT's last game. You know, his cheekiness has begun. Does he continue the cheekiness, or do we just try to macro it up? I know that I feel like he was going to go for Glaive to Depths last game, but change it up to a Dark Shrine once that Ling came in and scouted him. It is going to be a Stargate opener, so a bit more standard here. The Stargate really did not work out in game 1, but I feel like that was just like a miscontrol from Nightmare. Something we don't normally expect from him. Actually, the one thing that's made Nightmare look really, really strong lately is I feel like his blink control has been so good. And just in general, his control has been top-notch in a lot of really tense moments. Something I wouldn't have said about him maybe like a year and a half ago. But I feel like his control has gotten a lot better, a lot stronger. So, you know, losing the Void Ray and the Oracle in game 1, I think was not something I expect to see here in game 3. We'll see. See, maybe those nerves of playing against Dark is getting to him. Dark is the scary opponent. Turns out he's pretty good at this game. Who would have guessed? Again, I'm really stoked for Katowice next week. I kind of want to do like a bracket predictions for it. Did that last year, and I was really, really wrong about pretty much all of it. But I kind of want to try it again this year. Was that last year I did the bracket prediction? Maybe it might have been 2 years ago, actually. Man, time just flies. Time just absolutely flies. I was just thinking about, like, last year at this time, I was just getting back into casting StarCraft again more consistently. And I basically hadn't done anything for, like, the 8 months beforehand. I feel like it was 2 years ago I'm thinking about. Anyways, I was wrong then, too. Even when I was casting constantly. All right. So far, not much has happened. Let's see if these Oracles can get anything done here for Nightmare. Now, if it's Hero, I pretty much always expect them to get about 6 kills and not die. But Nightmare trying to get something going there, gets one more drone and loses the Oracle. And that's just, I mean, it's great defense from Dark. The Queen positioning has been top-notch. He's really kept an eye on these Oracles. Hasn't been caught off guard at all. But, I mean, it just shows you the difference between a player like Nightmare and a player like Hero. Again, Hero, when he plays against Dark, pretty much guaranteed 3 drone kills. Pretty much guaranteed, if he goes for, like, Adepts in there as well, 6, maybe even 8 drones. Hero and Max Packs pretty much always get that. But Nightmare not quite able to get that same amount. Loses the Oracle, only gets 2 drones in this game. And the problem is here, it just makes these follow-ups so much less powerful, right? You kill those extra 4, 5, 6 drones. That's just extra larva that the Zerg needs to use on those drones. Larva that's not potentially there for dealing with the Blink Stalkers. A couple less slings, maybe a roach less, something like that. It starts to add up over time, and that's how a lot of these Protoss builds work. I think especially Max Packs works that way. 1 little bit of damage at the start, and then that 1 bit of damage turns into 2 bits of damage, turns into 4, and before you know it, you owe Max Packs like more money than there are atoms in the universe or something. I don't remember how the doubling thing works. It gets kind of insane, but I feel like Max Packs wins a lot of games like that. The problem is if that 1 doesn't turn into 2, if you don't get that 1, you never get the 2, you never get the 4, and suddenly the game just kind of snowballs out of control. And I'm a little worried for Nightmare here. He didn't get that Oracle harass, which means the Blink Stalkers aren't out there doing anything. Which means Dark has just been free to do whatever he wants on his side of the map. And I don't think there's any player in the world that I would give like an edge to in a there's been no harassment and no fights before the 8-minute mark against Dark. He's so insanely good. I feel like you gotta pick him apart. You gotta do it. Maybe Serral. Serral in a ZVZ. I might give him the edge. That's about it. Straight up macro against Dark is just, it's not the way. It's not the way. It's funny how insanely passive this has been. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Nightmare's macro play is going to be good here. He's dropping a lot of cannons. He's got a lot of static defense in this situation right now. I do like the stasis ward here to help block those run-bys. Oh, he's got a bunch of Phoenixes. Hold on. What's going on here? I was not ready for that. Why does Nightmare have 6 Phoenixes? Is he expecting Mutas again? Did he scout a Spire that was canceled? Did I miss something big here? Oh, didn't scout a Spire, right? No. Why does he just have a bunch of Phoenixes? I'm so confused. Is he gonna try? Is he trying to be the Muta player? He's dropping a Fleet Beacon now. Okay, hold on. Now there's a Spire going down. Were the Phoenixes scouted? I feel like they weren't. Ooh, Dark gonna try to hit some multi-prong. The Stasis Trap. Expiring at a very bad moment for Nightmare, but it looks like he'll be fine anyways. He's gonna push away both sides of this attack for now. There's no Storm. These High Templar need to morph into an Archon. The Roaches are here. They're gonna grab that Archon that was trying to morph. They're gonna pull back, but no. No. Nightmare. Ooh, that Zealot Warp in. That was dicey. That was spicy. These Phoenixes have still not done anything. At this point, I kind of wish the Phoenixes would go, like, harass a drone line or something at least. Because they're just kind of chilling. And he got the Fleet Beacon, but he hasn't started any carriers or anything yet. And in the meantime, Dark has a Greater Spire on the way, as well as 3 Ultras. And I feel like Dark is just... I feel like he's just ahead. And now he's trying to, like, clear some supply to make those units. Nightmare's going to pick up some Roaches that are trying to retreat and get some kills here. In the meantime, Baneling smashing through. The Cyber Core goes down. This Gateway almost goes down. Super Shield Battery and some Warpins here will hold on for now for Nightmare. The Zealots, though, they spot the Ultra coming out, and it's got to be a bad feeling right now for Nightmare, who does not really have much anti-Ultra. He's got 1 Immortal. The Blink Stalkers are okay against them, but he's only got like 9 of those, so. Now Nightmare, who I think wanted to get into some heavy air units, it's going to be a lot harder when he's just playing full defense against the Dark, who's taking bases willy-nilly here. He does plant a Creep Tumor where this base would want to go, but Dark doesn't seem to care right now. He's just going to dive in on top of this, sending all of the Banes forward to get on top of the Probes. The Probes get pulled away, so that's a lot of dead Banes for not much value. I mean, I gotta say, so far this has not gone well for Dark. That trade was really, really bad. Like, ridiculously bad. And while Dark's mining is pretty off the chains here, he does have to be a little bit careful. There comes a point where if you throw too many units away, oh my god, where do those Banes come from? You throw too many units away and suddenly Nightmare has like a super powerful army. He is going to use that Fleet Beacon to get Mama out, so there's a big old mothership on the way. The new Cyber Core is getting +1 attacks for the flying units. And he's getting double Immortal now. So Nightmare's Grand Army is going to be pretty powerful. I would love to see Storm. I feel like a couple of High Templar with Storm could be super sick against this much Lingbane. Oh, but Dark. No, the door! The door! Wait, Dark turns around and leaves. Okay, that again could have been worse. Oh, this time the Probes do not leave, though. And Mama is out, but the Banelings are in. The wall getting a little bit busted here. The gateway goes down. And Dark is still out here. 26 Probes just died. Dark is trying to tear Nightmare down. Looks like +1 is not going to be able to finish. 2 Immortals doing their best. Good focus fire from Nightmare trying to gun down these Ultras. The wall will end up holding. Storm is on the way, so I said Storm would be good. Nightmare is like, ah, you know what? Mr. Casterman, you're right. Storm would be good. These 6 Phoenixes have done virtually nothing in this game. I feel like there was a point where I would have loved to see them harass. That point is now gone, and I feel like now I would rather see them just die and be replaced by something better. Nightmare is finally building carriers, but there's Corruptors on the way for Dark. It does look like the Corruptors are going to be Brood Lords, though. So Dark needs to recognize that there's carriers on the way and have some Corruptors set aside for that. Yeah, he's building more Corruptors now. He knows there's a mothership, so I feel like he's going to save at least a few Corruptors for that. If Nightmare is able to get like 6 carriers out, this could get a little bit spicy against Broodlords. Nightmare trying to take a 5th base. Dark in the meantime is put down to 6. He didn't even bother killing this Creep Tumor to put it down in the right spot. That's such a Chad move. Efficiency? I don't know, man. Dark doesn't need it. I do feel like Dark needs to take this base too, though. Like, he's ahead, don't get me wrong. He's been mining more for a long time. He's hitting this 5th base with Broods. Nightmare has not been mining super well, but there are 3 carriers out. The base gets taken out. That's pretty big. Nightmare also never got that +1 for his flying units, which is a bit of a problem. He is up against the +1 on these these Corruptors, rather. But Nightmare not able to get that base up is very painful here. The Broodlord's continuing to just throw some Broodlings out. Trying to target down one of these units. And Dark's just trying to chip away at this army. He's trying to take this army, little bits of this army down. The problem is, for Nightmare, he's going to have a very difficult time replacing anything in this army. He just doesn't have a lot of mining left. His main is mined out of minerals. His natural is getting pretty close to that, and a lot of his gas is about to be gone as well. So Nightmare's going to have a harder and harder time replacing units. Also, his upgrades are garbage. I didn't realize Nightmare's on +3 ground attack, and that is it. Literally nothing else. Not even a single shield upgrade. Mass fake zealots coming out here as the shield batteries get depowered. Nightmare trying to take this base. Again, he like really needs some money. Really needs some money. I'm surprised he's being so conservative, though. He is starting to bank up a little bit. He's getting a few Tempests out, but there are some Vipers coming out as well for Dark. Dark is still not taking this base. This is... I feel like this is Dark playing kind of... He's being kind of cocky right now, right? He knows how far ahead he is, and instead of furthering that by, like, killing this Creep Tumor and making sure his hatchery's in the right spot, taking both of these bases, which he absolutely could do, and Nightmare probably wouldn't have been able to do anything about it for a while. Dark he's playing with fire a little bit. He's putting himself in a worse position than he could be in. And Nightmare is playing very safe right now. That was a weird noise. Whatever noise was just happening in this game was really weird. Weird clicking sound. But I like that Nightmare's utilizing these Phoenixes. Lifting up some Banelings, just trying to get a little bit of value. Dark is obviously banked up a huge amount, but anything Nightmare can do at this point could make this game better for him. Dark's still not mining on this base. He is mining out from some of these bases. He's going to start running low on mineral patches. He's down to 76 drones, which I feel like is still a fine amount. He's going to run the Banelings in and try to get on top of this probe line. He's going to be able to do that. Probes will pull away, but a few probes are going to go down. This base, in the meantime, is going up for Nightmare. I mean, only killing 6 probes. Dark doesn't need to trade super well, but he's got to be a little careful here because he hasn't mined as much as maybe he should have by this point. But he forces a cancel on another one of Nightmare's bases. Nightmare not overreacting and sending everything up there. Just has a nice, powerful ground army, actually. He's going to go for a counterattack, it looks like. Oh, and these Ultras are going to get chewed up by the 4 Immortals here. That's a big loss for Dark. Dark, in the meantime, counterattacking, but Banelings have not finished morphing just yet. Nightmare, he's just going to keep going with this army. Dark does not have anything that responds super quickly to this. There's a bunch of Storm. This is actually a very expensive army for Nightmare. That makes me a little bit concerned, but I like this move in general. We do see some drones going down, but probes going down on the other side of the map. The Broodlords are here, and this army does not deal with Broodlords. He needs to recall. In the meantime, this base is just getting absolutely destroyed. The Lings and Banes getting on top of it. There's no probes over here either. While Nightmare's counterattack looks pretty good, I don't know if he has a recall available because he's not using it. He's got the mothership too. He's just letting this army die. I guess it's occupying the broods while Nightmare comes in here, cleans up this base. There's the yoink. There's the minus 400, 400. Oh, whoa, oh, hold on. Mama stays alive. Okay, Nightmare's mining is garbage, but counterpoint, so is Dark's. Dark lost this base. He lost this base. He hasn't sent the drones down here to actually mine from this just yet. Oh, but he's killing Nightmare's third and fourth. All right, well, I'm trying to find everything that Nightmare could have right now, but it's just not looking good. There's even a Nidus in Nightmare's main. It feels like for every one thing that Nightmare does well, that goes well for him, 2 to 3 things go well for Dark. Queen's not going to make it very long, but Dark realized, hey, the Nidus is up. I'm going to go ahead and send the Lings in. And this is a real problem for Nightmare because the Corruptors are going to kill this Nexus in the meantime. But we could cloak it. Cloak it. It was too late. It was too late, or the Overseer spotted it. I don't know, but the Bomber Ship's going to go down now. I think we're watching kind of the end of this game. Nightmare losing 3 Nexuses. The only 3 mining Nexuses. This is it. He's got 50 minerals at this patch. Other than that, he is long distance mining. The longest long distance you can possibly long distance. There's creep edging in towards his natural. He just, Nightmare's just got nothing, man. He's got nothing. This base is almost back up, and that's about it. Dark even has more army supply now. Another Nidus pops in the main. Ling's trying to get in again. And I think Dark's just got too much. He's got too much. His upgrades are too good. His army is too good. He's going up to, is that going to, oh, it's 15 Broodlords. I thought he still had more morphing. The 7 finished. I mean, this is, there's 33 Corruptors. I don't think 3 Carriers and 4 Tempests are going to live. I'm pretty sure Dark could A-move the Corruptors over here and they would still win the fight, even with the Archons underneath. He's going to go ahead and do it. Parasitic bombing for good measure. The Archons are doing their best, but it's just not enough. Their best isn't good enough, and Dark is going to take the 3-0 victory in this finals. Morphing 10 more broods to add insult to injury. He says, get out of my game. He's going to have 25 broods in a single game. I do not think I've ever seen 25 Broodlords at a time in a game. That is actually insane. The amount of Broodlings that are going to be on the ground. I wish they showed up in the units tab here. It's going to make my game lag. We're going to lose frames. 25 broods, dude. That's too many. 2 of them die. So before this game ended, Nightmare killed 2 of those Broodlords, and I think that's a moral victory as the GG comes out. And Dark does, in fact, take the 3-0 victory to win the KSL week number 43.